I'm Anatole, and this is my review of Dark Season 1, Episode 4, titled Double Lives, and it scored 8.3 on IMDb. Before I begin discussing the episode, I want to mention an interview that the show creators made with the New York Times on the release of Season 1, because there were a couple interesting things they said about German television that I thought are applied to the series. And the first one is that they discussed how different this show is from most German TV. That recently a lot of German television has been very conservative, and so, quotes, they note that, this is from the New York Times, direct quote, they note, they being the show creators, Miss Fries and Mr. Odar, they note that Dark is a departure not only because of its complex structure, but because of its blend of two genres, crime and science fiction. And this is a direct quote. The problem is that Germans aren't really big with suspension of disbelief, Miss Fries said. Again, direct quote, we have to break this realism wall to create more innovative content. That's something I was not aware of, that Germans are not much into escapism, because escapism and suspension of disbelief go hand in hand. Although I would not claim that Dark is escapism, it is in the fantastical, dark fantastical realm in science fiction, which do require suspension of disbelief. But normally when we discuss the mass medium, such as novels or films, when we mention suspension of disbelief, we're talking about escapism. So to talk about the themes of this episode, Double Lives, we do get the sense that there are people who are leading lives of secrets. It's something that's been inherent throughout the series. And I do want to note that at the beginning of the episode, when the husband and the wife, the Dopplers, and I have mentioned this before, but there is an image on Imager of the families of Dark. It's very useful for keeping all these characters straight. So when Charlotte and Peter, at the beginning of the episode, walk out of their hallway, they kind of eye each other in the morning. Behind them is a painting that has two images. So that is a subtle reinforcement of this idea of double lives. But for the family, one double life is the double life that Peter has because of his sexual proclivities and the way that he's been keeping that secret from Charlotte. And then we kind of get a sleeping with the enemy, because Charlotte has to verify if Peter is a suspect in the murder, since he has no real alibi for the night of that murder. And that involves her doing a lot of footwork on the side to rule in or rule out whether Peter is murder suspect. And that becomes a huge red herring for us, the viewer, because we are led to believe there's a possibility he is. He's shown getting rid of red dust or red dirt from his car, and red dirt was found near the body of one of the murder victims. But and Charlotte even seems to find near his cabin a hidden room, a hidden subterranean room with no conceivable purpose that was there for secret. But at the end, because the boy Yasin is kidnapped while Peter's with the family, and Peter's father wants to go to stop Noah from doing this, it seems like Peter's ruled out of a suspect. Whether he really is ruled out or not is left up in the air. But all of that is meant to kind of turn our gears as viewers and leave us uncertain as to the real culprit to the murder of the children. But what all that underpins is the tension within the family, and the way that each of them has some sort of a desire that they're hiding from the rest of the family. And Elizabeth seems to be someone with a darker impulse than she would appear, because she appears to be just young and naive. But we see from the beginning that she is taking lipstick from her older sister and lying about it. And she has a quote-unquote secret lover at the school with Yasin. And then when she is kidnapped from the forest, there's the imagery of Little Red Riding Hood, because she is literally wearing a riding hood. She's wearing the red lipstick. So I know in some circles, Red Riding Hood is seen as kind of a metaphor for sexual transition, for sexual blooming. And we see because Elizabeth has these darker impulses, there's more to her than an innocent girl. So there's that theme that's being played with. And already within the family, all of them are doing something that is beyond the pale. They're doing something that's dark and could be seen as harmful to themselves or to others. Now, what do I mean by that? For example, the older daughter, Franziska, and when I look down, it's because I'm looking at this tree that shows all the characters because I need it. There are quite a few to keep track of. Franziska has been dealing drugs on the side. Elizabeth has been lying. So Elizabeth's crimes are not even crimes, so to speak. Well, thievery is a crime, but they're very petty in comparison to the rest of the family. But Peter is lying about his infidelity, and he is a murder suspect. And the only one that I can't see any sort of darker impulses is in Charlotte, the police officer. She does keep secret, or I think she either outright lies or lies by omission about her investigation of her husband. But we haven't seen that she's doing anything that could be construed as a double life. But all the rest of the family has it. So if this theme, this idea of double lives holds true for all of them, I don't see why it shouldn't hold true for her as well. And then to comment on the regular plot, we do get an idea of who the person, at least the name of the person taking the children is, and that's Noah. His grand design, we don't know. The whole story is on a slow burn. It's being unveiled very slowly. And I think the plot, the design of these early episodes is to focus on one of the families or one or two of the characters because it's such a large cast. And so for this episode, we got the Dopplers. Oh, and I also wanted to point out the Doppler effect is an effect where the bending of light means you can't see where light truly is. And one example of the Doppler effect of the bending of light is if you put a stick in water and light is shining in through the water, the stick will appear to refract. And so we can also see that the identity of the people in the Doppler family is different from the perception of who they really are. So that, again, is another kind of that double life with Charlotte being... Oh, Charlotte does break rules in her investigation. She takes the camera, and her daughter even remarks on that. Oh, so you're stealing that. So, but her transgressions, Charlotte's, seem to be very mild compared to the rest of the family. And what she's doing, she does... I wouldn't say she does in the open. Charlotte's an enigma to me, how she fits into this plan of the double life. But in any event, those are kind of my thoughts on this episode. And I'm enjoying the series very much. I love the tone, and I love the way the mystery is slowly unspooling. So I hope you enjoyed it too. If you did or did not, please leave comments in the thread below. That's all for now. Take care and be well. Goodbye.